What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. Welcome out, everyone. All of you great decoders out there around the world, wherever you may be, both male and female. My name is Logan, and this, of course, is Decode Your Reality, and this is another scripted reality. This is Scripted Reality 5, and this one, ladies and gentlemen, will be on my great friend, the amazing syncretist, Santos BONACCI. And I had gotten his blessing on this decode, so I know he'll be watching this. And I was really kind of inspired to do this because I've been doing a lot of astrology breakdowns of things happening around the world. And I've gotten a lot of emails from people with their concerns about him getting his YouTube channel hacked by this guy right here. And so when I had gotten enough emails, I finally called him on the phone the other day, and I'm like, you didn't get your thing hacked, did you? Because when you read the comments here, this is typical Santos right here. This is Santos in the raw and real. And some people don't like this part about Santos, but Santos, what's great about him is he's authentic. He's had his ups and downs. He's had his challenges like we all have. But ladies and gentlemen, if you know this man personally, he's a beautiful person. He is a person who wants everybody to have bliss in their life, and he'll give you the shirt off his back. And these are the things that people don't see. They just see the ups and downs that we all have, and then they just want to crucify him, and they have no idea the stuff that he has to go through in his life. And what I'm about to show you today is through the astrology chart and my methodology, how, and Santos, I've talked to him about this. He knows that we're living in a game. He knows it. He knows that he's living through a scripted reality. And I'm going to support that. I'm not going to use the word prove, but I'm going to use the word support as I go through this Scripted Reality 5. I'm going to show you how Santos BONACCI's life is a scripted reality, and I'm going to utilize something that really happened in his life in 2019, and this video that was put out by this guy right here, talking about this guy pulled the police report. Santos has told the story about him having to do self-defense, and unfortunately someone's life got taken out, and Santos was protecting Molly here, and and so the whole story comes out, and at the very end this guy says Santos gets exonerated because what he said was true. All right. Again, you don't have to like Santos, but again, I'm just going to encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, just, look at the good side of what he's all about, because he has a beautiful, beautiful heart, and he's a very, very good soul underneath all the challenges that he may come out on the world stage that you may not like. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that was kind of a little disclaimer here, but what I wanted to get into was this death investigation report, the police report, the whole incident that happened on October 13th, 2019 between Santos, Molly, and Molly's ex-boyfriend, Stephen James Durkee. This guy right here, he lost his life. Santos defending himself. But I'm going to show you, it was all in the astrological charts. Here is the astrological chart. Now, Santos is more on the Western, the tropical, and that one, I can break that one down and show you. It has its own set of standards and merits, but I prefer to use the Vedic sidereal because you get the extra layer with the nakshatras inside the zodiac signs, and I feel like you get a little bit more of a deeper meaning and message here. But nonetheless, both of them will have their own merits. This one, ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you will blow your mind, and it will show you how Santos didn't have a choice. This was all part of his scripted reality, all part. And this is why I'm saying, like, when you have this kind of cross to bear, when you have to take someone out, man, imagine you had to take someone out. What kind of energy you got to carry around with you? That's a tough energy to kind of deal with. So cut them some slack, ladies and gentlemen. Man, people just are so hard on them. I mean, look at the good in what this guy's done. But nonetheless, let's jump into this right here. This decoded, and this is the actual snapshot on October 13th, 2019 in Eugene, Oregon at around 8:40 a.m. The official time of death was 8:55. So this chart is based upon 8:40 a.m. in Eugene, Oregon. And I'm going to break it all down for you. Let's start off right here with a bang. The first bam, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it's not any more obvious here. Bringing the tarot into this, and the day that it happened, October 13th. And what's the 13th card in the tarot? That's right. That's right, it's death. And that's exactly what happened on that morning in Eugene, Oregon. There was a death. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there was a death. So let's kind of get into the chart a little bit more and start breaking down some of the more pertinent points here to show you the scripted reality for Santos BONACCI. And let's start off with the 12th house. 12th house by default is owned and operated by Pisces behind the scenes, but Virgo is here, the Virgin. And inside the 12th house, which has got the heaviest energy out of them all, you Pisceans, man, that's why it's the most mystical. It's a heavy energy because it's the last sign. But there's Mars was right there, the god of war, inside the 12th house in the 13th nakshatra called Hasta. Now, these are going to have their own variations, their own meanings, but I like to connect them to as many things as I can. And again, this happened on the 13th of October. There's the 13th card in the 13th nakshatra. There is the god of war. I mean, I could just do the mic drop right there. Clear as day. The last sign, the 12th sign, the shadow self, Mars in that 13th nakshatra. And right next door is the sun. You know, right next door, because it's, just coming up, 8:40 a.m. There it is. There it is right there. And we just keep going, ladies and gentlemen. We have another layer to look at because in the 12th house, we have the 12th tarot card. And it's the Hangman. If you know what this card means. So we have these layers of Mars, the god of war, in the 13th nakshatra tied to the 13th card of death. It happened on the 13th. And you're dealing with an energy through the sign of Pisces with Virgo. And you have the Hangman. You don't have a choice. And this is going to be tied to carbon. Carbon has a weight of 12. We're made up of carbon. Carbon's the 666 element. Carbon has 6 protons. Virgo is the 6th sign. It's in the 12th house. So you have carbon right here, right there, with the god of war and the sun there. The sun and Mars together, I mean, gosh, what an energy that is. Explosive energy. Explosive energy. But we take this a little bit further here, and I just wanted to point this out that I know Santos really favors the tropical, but here's Santos's chart in the sidereal, and it puts him as a Pisces sun. Look at all the energy he's got. He's got Sun, Mercury, and Jupiter, all in the sign of Pisces. And Pisces is the 12th sign. This is the 12th house. He's got the sun in the 12th house, the sun in the 12th sign in his birth. This is like all scripted reality for him with this sidereal / Vedic. All right. But moving a little bit further, ladies and gentlemen, what about the energy from Mars and the sun, of course, in that 12th house with the card death there, going all the way across? What's across the way in the 6th house, forming a symbiotic relationship right here? Well, it's the moon. The moon, and we have the wound of Chiron. How about that? Think about, if you're a fan of astrology now, think about what I'm showing here. The wound of Chiron and the moon in the 6th house, right across the way from Mars, the god of war, and the sun. And this was during a full moon now, ladies and gentlemen. In the tropical, it's going to be a full moon in Aries, but in the sidereal, and both of them are going to be true. I mean, I was talking to Santos about it. It's like, yeah, it was a full moon. We knew it. Like, what are we going to do tonight? Him and Molly, they're both Arians. Full moon in Aries in the tropical. But nonetheless, here's the interesting part about this, is that the moon was not only in the 6th house in Pisces, but it was in the 27th, the last nakshatra, called Ravati. And I'm going to bring the tarot in again to get the picture, because we think in pictures. And I mean, you couldn't paint a better picture. Here's the 27th card in the tarot deck. It's the Five of Wands. Look at what's going on here. They're fighting. What do you think happened that morning? Baseball bat, knife. I mean, it was tons of fighting going on. Right? You can't, this is obvious right here. And the moon runs the emotions. Right? High emotions. You can imagine the fear, fight or flight, the adrenaline gets spiked, the cortisol gets, all this right here. And there it is. You can't miss it. And Mars is right across the way, giving all its energy, squaring that moon. And then the sun is obviously opposing the moon, and it's a full moon. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where you're going to get, you get lunatics. The full moon, lunatics. The lunatic came to that house that day. Santos had to defend himself and Molly right there. And there's the Chiron wound as well. Right there, all scripted in Santos's life, as well as James Durkee and Molly as well. It was a love triangle, if you will. I mean, that's kind of how it was what it was all about, really. I mean, I don't know what happened, what is up with their relationship, but obviously James Durkee came to the house because he was jealous and, ex-lover, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to get into that with the Venus placement. But, here's a little bit more, because it is this love triangle, because in the 6th house, we have the 6th card in the tarot, and it's the Lover's card. So you can see how the tarot is so beautiful in giving us the picture, providing us the visuals beyond just the interpretation of the placements of the planets and the houses and the nakshatras, et cetera, et cetera. So we have fighting going on with the 27th nakshatra and the moon there, and then we have it being in the 6th house, and the 6th house represents the lovers. Fighting because it's about love. That was the whole foundation of it all. Right there. Scripted reality, folks. Scripted reality. The reason why I got iodine over here is because this is the 12th house, this is the 6th house. You bring the 12 and the 6 together, you get 126, and then you get the iodine. Iodine is one half of the I am that I am. Tied to this is tied to Yeshua. Yeshua equals 53 in numerology. Make no mistake about it. I mean, Jesus was born of a virgin. He was a fisher of men. I mean, you can't get any more dead giveaway than that right there. This is kind of the symbiotic hourglass that forms the Christ consciousness right there. That's why Pisces has the heaviest energy out of them all. 6 is the first perfect number in mathematics, et cetera, et cetera. But going a little bit further, this was probably the most definitive out of them all. A dead giveaway of a scripted reality through Santos, Molly, and James Durkee. 3 people that were involved. I mean, Santos didn't have a choice. Before he was even born, this was already written for him. Okay? This is all written in from the stars, man, the celestials. That's what governs over this reality. But you can clearly see look at all the energy down here in the 3rd house. 3 people involved, you could say that, but we have Jupiter here on the outskirts. I'm going to get into that, but we have K2, the south node of the moon. We have Pluto, the destroyer, and we have Kronos, the grim reaper. So Santos would say it's Satan, right? So he's got Satan, the destroyer, Pluto, and he's got the south node of the moon. And it's in the 9th zodiac sign, Sagittarius, which is ruled by Jupiter by default. And he's got them flipped. This entire zodiac wheel is flipped. Aries is over here. Libra is over here. They should be flipped. They should be the opposite by default. But anyway, the energy that is here, forming a symbiotic relationship like we did with the other example, is up here in the 9th house. 9 meaning endings and completions. And it's a dead giveaway, folks. It's the almighty Rahu, the north node. This placement is a dead giveaway. Rahu blows things out of proportion. This is the cause of who we are. Rahu is probably one of the most important placements in all your charts. Probably the most important. Directs the energy. Doesn't care about effects. It just wants the cause. It's your desires. And this Rahu is in the 6th nakshatra called Ardra. And here's the description of Ardra. Look at what's favorable for Ardra nakshatra. Destruction. Discarding objects and habits, confrontations, demolition, dissolving negativity. All right? This right here, ladies and gentlemen, September 11th, this is exactly where this was, representing the Twin Towers. I mean, this right here, if you ask me, this is Santos and James Durkee, the two twins, Castor and Pollux fighting it out. Gemini. These two, him and Durkee. And, this is, not only is it the 6th nakshatra, it's the 33rd nakshatra. Why I say that is because the nakshatras end here in the sign of Pisces, 27. But if you keep going, you have 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So there's that infamous, notorious 33. And you then bring alchemy into this to get a further detailed piece of all this. And now it becomes very crystal clear. We have the poisonous arsenic. People still do get poisoned by arsenic. There's the 33 of ascension, 74 tied to tungsten and wolfram and the wolf, and et cetera, et cetera. 33 is the age of the Christ being crucified. I mean, there's so many nuggets with this, but all the energy from this is tied to the foundational point of the 3rd house right here. So you have the Grim Reapers, as Santos calls it, Satan, and the destroyer Pluto, and the south node of the moon, forming a symbiotic relationship, giving all its energy to this Rahu in the 9th house of endings and completions through Gemini, representing Castor and Pollux, representing Santos and James Durkee, fighting it out, and then James Durkee having his life taken from him in self-defense from Santos BONACCI. And there's the poison. And it's, the 6th nakshatra, and you can go a little bit further, it's carbon once again. So that the Durkee gets taken out. Right there. This is a scripted reality, folks. Right here. It's in plain sight right there. Let's keep going. How about the 20th nakshatra, where this energy is coming from? It's forming a symbiotic relationship with the 6th Ardra. 20 is Purva Ashada. And it's the 20, it'd bring in the tarot. You can't get any more clear. The picture now. See, Santos's scripted reality, he had to serve judgment to James Durkee, obviously, because you got the Grim Reaper and Pluto the Destroyer there. You know what kind of energy you're dealing with right here? In the 9th sign of Sagittarius? And it's forming a symbiotic relationship in Gemini with Ardra, and Ardra being the destroyer, the demolition. The judgment. The judgment was handed down. Santos had, and he was part of it. Had no choice, folks. What would you do? See, this is what I'm saying. People don't realize, the positions people get put into, and then they just, anyway. They didn't have a choice, folks. Okay? This is pretty crystal clear. And then, if you want the humdinger of it all, really, is, how about the day that this happened between Santos and Durkee and Molly? October 13th. Here's the card of illumination for that. The 9 of clubs. It's the 22nd card in the deck. Look at what Santos's last name equals in numerology. Are you freaking kidding me? 13 being the card of death? This card right here is tied to the November 11th, the 11/11. You guys born in 11/11, Leonardo DiCaprio, 11/11. It's one of the Christ cards, folks. This one, 22. It's the Fool, the Fool's Journey. The Wounded Warrior in the tarot. This card. And you mean to tell me this day was the 22nd card that matches his last name? Scripted reality, folks, right there. Even the Sagittarius is the 9th sign. There's a big fat 9 on that card. You can't miss this stuff. Moving through the 9th house where Rahu is with arsenic, the poison. This is all scripted reality, man. All scripted reality. How about the rising and the descending points? The east to west. Well, you get the scales of justice here. It's through the sign of Libra and Lib-Ra. Some pronounce it Libra, but it's Lib-Ra. Ra, the sun god. the scales of justice. And what do we have here? Venus and Mercury. Venus is the planet of love. What do you think he was defending? Molly, a grand friend of his. Love, a love connection. It was a lover's quarrel. Mercury representing part of the pineal gland. Mercury equals 23, pineal equals 23. Mercury is the communicator. Is Mercury our pineal gland? Communicates. But it's in the 15th nakshatra called Swati. And again, it has a different meaning if you go read about it, but the 15th card in the tarot, I mean, it's a pretty dead giveaway. What happened with this incident right here? Obviously, I mean, it was between three people. And somebody had to get taken out, man. Santos self-defense. Scripted reality here, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty easy to see here. And then the second house and the 8th house, where, the almighty Olympian Zeus there, and Zeus, Jupiter Zeus is in the sign of Scorpio. This is a heavy energy to deal with right here in Scorpio, in the 18th nakshatra called Jyeshtha. I think I pronounced that right, but there it is. And here's kind of a little bit more of a detailed definition of this nakshatra. This nakshatra is all about these deities, Lakshmi, and then the shadow side, Alakshmi. Alakshmi is more on the shadow, is more of the evil side. The duality runs through all of this, and you go even further, and then you have what's called the Trimurti, and every nakshatra through Vedic astrology works with the Trinity. It works with Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. And there's going to be a standout for each one of these. And it just so happens that in this Jyeshtha nakshatra, number 18, Shiva the destroyer is the one that takes the reins. Shiva the destroyer takes the reins. And Jupiter's right next door to its own house right there. It's pretty easy to see, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't think this is a tough placement, I mean, take a look at Ted Bundy. I broke him down already. Look at all the energy he's got in the sign of Scorpio. He's got Mars. He's got Ketu. He's got the moon, black moon Lilith, all in the 18th nakshatra. So, and he's got more here as well. But I mean, you think this guy had a choice? I'm going to be coming out with more on this guy, but even his execution was scripted. Okay, so this is a heavy energy to deal with. Okay, this is a heavy energy to deal with. But Jupiter, of course, the god of justice, Zeus, supposedly. I mean, Zeus is known as the thunderbolts being thrown down, etc., being the biggest planet and representing the 9. And you just go back to the 9th house. I mean, he owns this house by default. And Rahu's there, who blows everything out of proportion. But obviously, through Ardra and the 33 and arsenic and the poison and the two twins representing Santos and James Durkee, obviously it's a dead giveaway. You just got to bounce these things around. Even though Jupiter's here, still owns this house by default. So it's pretty easy to see there. And then, the last slide I wanted to bring into this, just to give you a secondary glance at extended versions of astrology. How about the Chinese? The Chinese has a lot of value in this reality. I'm starting to really get into it more and more. I really, really am. And what the comedy in this, and I know Santos is going to listen to this and he's going to chuckle, because he'll tell you, like, he told me the whole story. Many times he's told it to me face to face. And he's like, man, here's this 290 pound guy. And here I am, the skinny guy. And Santos's adrenaline kicks in, his Aries kicks in, and he was supposed to live through this script. And the interesting part is the major energy to me playing out the role here was the Grim Reaper and the Destroyer of Pluto through Ketu in the 20th nakshatra, which means judgment, and then giving its energy to Rahu up here in Ardra and the demolition deity and arsenic poison. But if you go to the Chinese, it's the monkey. So it's Santos the monkey. Santos would be the monkey here, okay? If he compared himself to that guy, James Durkee, he was much smaller, he would say, yeah, I was the monkey. And then the monkey is forming a symbiotic relationship with Gemini, but it's the tiger through the Chinese. Santos became a freaking tiger. The adrenaline kicked in, and he was a superhuman. His strength. This is what happens when adrenaline kicks in, and you kind of black out. This is a dead giveaway here, folks. To me, I know this whole incident is not funny, but the whole monkey thing's kind of comical to me. But the tiger was out of the cage at that point. Right here. Here's the tiger through Rahu, who blows everything out of proportion. The cause of everything, using poison to take James Durkee out. Clearly a scripted reality for Santos BONACCI, the great Santos BONACCI. And, and this is what it came down to right here. I mean, even if you go look at Santos was 56, James Durkee was 48, okay? And then if you go back here and you look at Molly's age, she was 45. And when you add all those up, 45 plus 48 plus 56, you're going to get this number right here, 149. Look at what the prime number is right here. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll just go to numerology here and simulation. You see? And I know this is a television show because if you type in this element, gadolinium, what does that mean? Well, I go to the periodic table and we go to gadolinium, and there it is. The numerology is 35. What do you see there? You're live in front of the whole world. You're on television, folks. You're on television. Okay? This is all scripted. Santos knows. I've had conversations. He knows it. This guy didn't know it. But there it was, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. Scripted Reality 5. So for those of you that are fans of astrology, what did you see? I was just bringing out some of the highlights that I saw. This is my methodology, bringing in the tarot, the cards, through the nakshatras, the numbers themselves, not necessarily the descriptions. I've done it through countless now. I have a lot more coming out, but I'd love to hear what you saw. Leave your comments down. Just keep them cordial, because I can tell you right now, if you have any toxicity, I will remove them. Trust me. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, focus on the good in life, the utopia in life. I know this is not a utopian scenario, but this is about a scripted reality, folks, and trying to figure it out, right? Trying to figure it out. So be nice, be cordial. Leave your comments, what you saw. We'd love to hear. Anyway, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality and Scripted Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.